Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Simply Growing Food Podcast. I'm your host, Dillon. Tonight we're going to be talking about apple trees and what we're doing with ours, neem oil versus pyrethrin. These are two plant-derived sprays you can use in your garden. And why all the beautiful blue, green, lush fields of winter rye are now brown, dead, and sad. Open your eyes. That's what's coming up on the SGF. Stay tuned. All right, and welcome back to another episode of the Simply Growing Food Podcast. Farmer Cass is back from her trip. How you doing, Cass?
I am doing great.
Are you happy to be back?
I am happy to be back. It was a nice little trip. I went to Washington, D.C. with my mom. It was really cool. We went and saw Mount Vernon, which is George Washington's home. Fun fact, it is owned by a group of ladies.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What is the group called?
You know, I can't remember.
Well, that's, I'll give you a C+. Give you a C+ on that one. So what else was DC about? Tell us a little bit more.
Let's see. We actually didn't see any of the monuments this time. It was only a couple days. Every year my mom has to go to a conference, so I like to tag along, get a, free bed at the hotel.
There you go.
Yep. Let's see what else. Went to a couple other museums, though, and hung out with my sister because she actually had a layover in D.C. that kept getting postponed. So we were able to pick her up from the airport and explore a little bit.
Sure. Very nice. Well, that's cool. Were you happy to come home?
I was, except the traffic was awful, Let's see.
How long was
Almost
the drive?
10 years ago, I wouldn't have minded driving all over the place, but the drive was about 8 hours. It was supposed to only be about 7. Well, that's not too bad, only an hour difference, but lots of traffic. Every state, yep, lots of traffic.
Every state. Nothing but traffic.
At least
nice.
at every point, yeah.
Yeah. How was the weather?
Pretty good, actually. I thought it was going to be rainy the whole time, but it kind of, curved on us. And one day it was really warm, really sunny. That was the day we went to Mount Vernon, so we picked a good day to go. Let's see. One day rained, but it was the last day we were there, so it didn't really matter. And we were in walking distance of some, like a whole strip of different restaurants and stuff, so I didn't have to venture far from the hotel, which we stayed in, what the heck was it called? Near the City Shops, which is an underground shopping plaza, like a mall underground.
Okay.
But it's actually closing. It's closing in October because nobody likes to go shopping anymore.
Underground?
Well,
or in general?
In general, I would say. So it's actually closing down. So an era is ending. So glad we got to see it. Very
interesting. Yeah, I've been to D.C., but I have not shopped underground.
Yeah, it's near the metro, so nice little hub.
Very cool. Now they have cherry blossoms, right? That's a big thing this time of year, the cherry blossoms.
Yes, we actually missed it though, but across the street from our hotel there was a little, park area with more food, and there was fake cherry blossoms all over the place. And yeah. Sure. It was more like decorations for this cherry blossom festival they do every year.
Decor blossom.
Yeah, decor blossoms. But it was kind of interesting because the first 2 nights we were there, we were like, oh, look at all these cherry blossoms. We missed it, whatever, because I think they're past bloom, whatever. And then the last day I was there, everything in the park was taken down. All the decorations gone. Oh. Yeah, moving on.
Quick.
Yeah.
Quick. Interesting. Yeah, we don't linger. Very cool. Well, we're glad to have you back. Your absence was felt.
Thanks.
I did get a lot of questions from folks that listen to the show about where you went.
All good things.
How I was holding up. But,
eating radishes for dinner.
Yeah. Mostly just like a solid, I would just cook a solid pound of burger and just eat that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh my God, like no problem.
Yeah, not very picky. I'm actually the picky one. I gotta have, my full balanced meal. It's
That's
gotta have
a fact.
a starch, a veggie, protein. Yeah.
I don't even need a bun. I would just eat
No,
that patty.
I bet you did. Did you even put cheese on it?
Yeah, actually, I did put cheese on it.
Moving on up.
I had to think about it. We had
Gourmet.
yeah. And that beef is really good.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of seasoning, just some salt, pepper, maybe a little garlic.
So
actually.
juicy.
Mm-hmm.
We actually made burgers with it the other night. And
Oh.
it was like, I don't know, I was pretty hungry, I will say.
And we ate them in the garden, which was
Oh my
beautiful,
God,
too.
but it was one of the best burgers I've ever had.
Yeah.
You know,
For
we
sure.
made sure, because we got big buns, so we only made 3 burgers with the pound of burger to make sure they were nice and big. And, I bought an onion, because our onions are not ready yet. Put some cheese on that. We did use arugula, because I ran out of romaine, and I didn't feel like cutting any.
The arugula was a good touch. Shameless plug.
Yep.
The wonderful farm we get that beef from also makes this fantastic drink that I'm having right now.
Yes.
We've got ourselves a pint of farm fresh coffee milk. Delicious.
Dylan loves the coffee milk.
I used to drink it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Drink it now. It's delicious.
Except, he doesn't know what autocrat is. New Englanders, I know you know.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Specifically, I think Rhode Islanders. I think that's where it originated, maybe.
Specifically, you guys in that tiny spot there.
That
really
tiny state. They like the coffee syrup.
I don't blame them. If that's what this is, top notch. But yeah, great treat. So cherry blossoms, kind of related, not really, are apple trees here on the farm. Last year we planted 9. I lost 2 to
Operator error.
Well, no, my dad ran 2 over, and 2 got eaten by the deer so bad that they just kind of gave up and died. So it dropped us down to 5. Recently, though, I went to the nursery we acquired those ones from, and I got 2 more. I picked up an Arkansas Black, which is an heirloom variety. Super dark red flesh. Nope, not flesh. Flesh is white. Skin is super dark. Red. And I picked up another Gala. So we've got some Galas, Pink Ladies, Golden Delicious, and now Arkansas Black. Something interesting, the apples we planted last year, since, I neglected them poorly, and they got eaten, they didn't produce any flowers. No flowers. And I consulted with a nurseryman, one I trust, one who knows quite a bit. One could say he even grew these, because he did. And he was kind of stumped by it. He didn't really know what to make of a non-flowering apple. My thought is that they were so stressed last year that they really couldn't. Like this year, they're focusing on really rooting in, really getting stronger, putting out new foliage. Branching out a little bit. I pruned them in the wintertime, took some cuttings. I'm still hopeful on a few of them. Apple tree cuttings, they did not take like the grape cuttings at all. But I'm hopeful. And the 2 apple trees I got the other day have flowers on them, and they actually have some little apples. So that'll be good. We could use some apples, right?
For sure.
If you think about it, if everybody just had an apple tree or 2, it wouldn't be an apple industry. Not like it is. Not like it is. And it's kind of easy maintenance. I mean, I've been out there spraying them with some neem oil mixed with a little bit of dish soap to try to keep the bugs off. And so far, so good. They look really good. I was really hoping to get a harvest, but I don't know if I will because they haven't flowered. Now,
right.
The other day
It's getting a little late.
It's getting a little late, but you know what? If they flower, we got pollinators. So, will they have enough time to fully develop the fruits? I'm not exactly sure. But the other day I gave them some powdered potassium chloride. Potassium's going to really give them a boost on the flowering.
Okay.
It helps with flowering, and it will kind of somewhat, I'm not going to say force them into flower, but if they're going to flower, it's going to be with a boost of potassium. So I've sprinkled a little bit of that. I might give them another feeding of it maybe this weekend just to kind of, because I only gave like a teaspoon.
Okay.
3 teaspoons per tree. So it really wasn't a lot.
Right.
Some of them are pretty tall trees, so I don't know if the microphone picked that up, but the chickens are freaking out outside. Probably just a bird flying over. Something I've actually been wanting to tell you, Cass, that I haven't, is that when I went and picked up honey recently, I learned a little bit about the honey business in relation to apple orchards, because it's that time of year in New England.
Right.
And the apiarist we work with, he rents out his hives all over New England for apple pollination.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I started
these
talking.
These are extra traveling bees.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're really performing a service. It's kind of crazy that we're to that point where we got to call a honey guy in to pollinate an orchard. You know. But.
And that's because there's not enough naturally?
Apparently not. Yeah. But yeah, so I was chatting with him, and he was saying to me, I learned a little bit about apple growing.
Okay.
Just through going to the honey guy. And he was telling me that apple growers, like, obviously, unfortunately, they spray. They spray herbicides. Well, not herbicides. They spray insecticides.
Okay.
And fungicides. Like if they know there's going to be a big rain or whatever, sometimes they'll hit the trees, preemptively to stave off any kind of issues.
Okay.
But what he was telling me is that apple trees produce so many flowers that orchardmen have to go through and spray the trees to drop flowers.
Okay.
Because the trees can't grow all that fruit.
Okay.
You won't get a good palm-sized apple if you leave all those flowers. So I'm like thinking to myself,
there's not going to be enough room on the trees.
Well, the tree can't.
And not enough energy.
Right,
yeah.
they just can't do it,
But even, I think about when we go apple picking, the trees are
loaded.
packed. Loaded.
And you're like, this is like...
And that's like a month after people have already been picking.
Right. Yeah, it's like, how many flowers did you kill in order to get this many apples? Imagine. But they would be considerably smaller, and it would, like, ruin the market. What if we just decided that we'll eat small apples? As a group of humans, what if we were like, we want less chemicals
we
on
don't
our
need
produce?
apples in January.
Yeah, I mean, apples do store really well.
Okay, then February.
But
you'd be eating them, so there wouldn't be any left, is my point.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
if they're small, you're going to eat twice as many.
Seasonal eating.
Yeah.
Too, yeah, right. If they're small, right, you'll eat twice, yeah. That's a good point. But I also wonder if they're tart, if they don't sweeten the same way. I'm not exactly sure, but I thought that was really interesting. So I said, so what do they usually spray on the trees to drop flowers? And he says 7. 7, like the chemical dust you use, some people use in their garden.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. And apparently it forces the trees to drop the flowers, which I was like, that's
7. What is that?
7. I'll look it up real quick. It's literally, I think it's an insecticide, but we'll get a double check on that. What is? Yeah, so 7. Yeah, so it's an insecticide. And it says 7 is an insecticide that contains carbaryl, whatever, as its active ingredient. It can be used to kill and control over 500 types of insects on plants, trees, soil, and lawns. But apparently, it'll also force your trees to drop flowers. Okay. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I had never heard of that, but I wouldn't have. I'm not an apple guy yet. I'm slowly becoming an apple guy.
Dillon Appleseed.
Not as nice of a ring. No. But anyway, yeah. So we have 7 apple trees out there, and I'm hoping that the 2 we just planted produce something for us this season. I'm pretty optimistic. They look good. That's all we can hope for at this point. I've been spraying them, making sure the bugs are minimal.
At bay.
Yeah. But yeah, so moving on. What I've been spraying them with actually is neem oil. So neem oil is a new product to us. It's derived from the neem tree. As far as I understand from the research I've done, it's just extracted right from the tree.
Okay.
And it doesn't kill bugs. but it just produces a flavor in which they're not fond of.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of like the garlic barrier, but a little stronger. You
Okay.
know, some people swear by neem oil. Some people say that it's actually bad.
I know. There's
You know?
it's 50, if you follow any of these gardening groups on Facebook
what have
or
you
any
heard?
of them, I've heard it's bad, but I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why it's bad.
Should we see what
Let's see what
Google
that.
thinks?
Yeah, let's see.
Why is neem oil bad? It says neem oil can be slightly irritating to the eyes and skin. Azadirachtin, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right.
I'm
A
gonna say no.
component of neem oil can be very irritating to the skin and stomach. The remaining portion of neem oil is made of fatty acids, essential oils, and other substances that are commonly eaten in a normal diet. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they think that it's... Well, the one thing I have heard as a complaint of neem oil is the cost.
Okay.
And again, it doesn't kill anything, but so far I think it's produced what I'm looking for. It also, because it's so oily, I forgot, it leaves behind like a residue on the foliage, making it harder for insects to grab, like to cling to.
Okay. I wonder, it could be bad because if you're spraying it on your apple trees, maybe the bees will be deterred.
Oh, man, natural flow. Bringing back the bees is bringing me to pyrethrin and what that is. I recently saw a video on YouTube all about why you should use pyrethrin instead of neem oil.
Can you tell me what pyrethrin is?
Pyrethrin is an enzyme that is derived from the chrysanthemum plant.
Ooh.
Like your fall mums, everybody.
Yeah, they smell great.
Still haven't decided if we're going to grow any, but we're kind of coming up on the deadline here. Let us know if you want us to grow them. If you care enough to let us
Maybe
know.
we should.
I mean, we usually do.
We
but-
should grow half the amount, sell them all,
Yeah.
keep one or two, which a couple of them that we grew last year, I planted out in the garden, and they are coming back. I planted them in the ground.
Yeah, they look good.
So
They look good.
pyrethrin, strong.
Oh, yeah. So pyrethrin, like I said, is derived from the chrysanthemum plant, and it does kill bugs on contact.
Okay.
It will kill bugs. I don't want to say on contact. Let me take that back. It does kill bugs.
Okay.
I'm not going to say you spray it on the bug and it dies, but what I've researched, yeah, that's how that works. And so I'm talking again with our apiarist, and I said, what do you know about neem oil? And he was like, well, I know, I mean, you know how he talks. He's funny. He's loud. He's funny. But he's like, I know a lot of farmers like you. They use it. I don't know a lot about it. And I said, well, what about pyrethrins? He's like, don't ever use pyrethrin.
Why?
Because it kills bugs, which means it kills bees.
Okay.
And you're spraying them on crops that the bees are going towards.
Right.
So, it's like, yeah, you're going to kill the aphids, but you might not even get a pollination because you're killing the bees too. So
Interesting.
I know I was kind of surprised by that, but when he said it, I was like, oh, duh! It's designed to kill bugs. Of course, it's going to kill bees.
Right.
So we're going to do the neem oil. The neem oil, I haven't gotten it on my skin. I haven't ingested it, nor do I intend to. So we're going to try.
You know what, though? Even if you get it on your skin, it's got to be better than some other stuff you could get on your skin.
Yeah, like sunscreen. Let me tell you something.
I won't totally say that, but
Maybe that's another podcast. Yep. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna 86 the pyrethrin idea, and it also kind of maybe worst case scenario if you have an infestation, use pyrethrin.
Okay.
I would say use that before you use a chemical like 7.
Yeah.
On your plants.
I guess the question would be how long does the residue last? Because you could use it, if we ever have. Although this year we did not have an aphid problem in our.
Do you know why?
Because you had the freaking martyr plants.
No.
Why?
Because I didn't grow the same brassicas.
Oh.
So, Last winter, little side note here. Last winter we had some aphid problems in the greenhouse.
Because we had broccoli.
We had broccoli. We had
Over
kohlrabi.
winter.
We had kale.
Cabbage.
We had cabbage.
Yeah.
We had all
Brassica.
the hallmark we're gonna get eaten plants, and not by people, by bugs. So
Yeah.
this winter we 86'd the cabbage, threw out the broccoli, and decided to focus on the roots and the leafy greens.
Yep. The carrots, the radish.
Carrots,
Turnips.
radish. We had a couple turnips. We had some beets.
Yeah.
But then we mostly had romaine,
Yeah.
kale, things like that. Harvest blend, arugula. But that's why we didn't have so many aphids. And last year we also brought in some ladybugs to try to help with the aphids.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably end up doing that again
Yeah.
when it comes time. I think we should probably bring some in anyway. I saw that you can actually buy boxes of bumblebees. Yeah, put them in your greenhouse.
Okay.
And then, we don't need that.
The only thing that's bad about the ladybugs thing that I've heard is that
what's
I heard before primarily the ladybugs you're buying in, they're coming from the West Coast, mostly like Northern California, Oregon, places like that. Northern California.
Are they native there?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, different varieties because we have native ladybugs here too. So the problem is that you're bringing in ladybugs, so they're competing with the native ladybugs here, and a ladybug, much like a bee, will always go home. So now they don't know where to go home, and they're going to try to go home however they can, and they'll probably die in the process. So you're kind of just screwing them for the little bit of aphids they're going to eat, is what I've heard. I don't want to completely 100% say that's true. That's just one of the things I've read.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I can definitely say, because when we got those in, they did not look like your ladybug around here. So I did some research, and it looked more like a West Coast ladybug, which was a little bit more elongated and it wasn't as deep red as the ladybugs you see around here. But I really wanted to make sure it wasn't like an Asian ladybug or whatever. Those awful pesky bugs aren't beneficial.
We did order them from a reliable source.
Yeah.
They had good reviews.
I think they were literally called like the good bug guys or something like that.
The good bug.
Yeah.
I think they helped. Well,
Yeah.
we're trying to. We did a little nematode action, last year too, and I think that helps.
We could grow our own ladybugs.
We could.
But now we're like imprisoning ladybugs that we find.
But this will be their home.
Yeah. And we'll feed them.
How many generations of kidnapped ladybugs does it take to forget their home? I bet they never,
Actually, you know what? We
they
had
never
some
forget.
ladybugs living in our windowsill up in our apartment. So that's their home. We'll just,
I wonder if they came.
Now they got a job. They want to live in our house. They gotta work.
Yeah. I don't know what they eat in the house.
Well, they were in the windowsill, so I feel like they got out eventually. They got in somehow, so they got out.
Well, the point is we're trying all the time to come up with better ways to control the insect problems, control the fungal problems.
And ones that actually work, because a lot of people think that natural remedies are hogwash. And I bet a lot of them are, but there's also some that aren't. Because, humans have been around forever. They weren't always using 7.
Well, you know what's funny? I learned about onion water, like garlic oil in the water.
Yeah.
When I went on a field trip to Sturbridge Village.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember you used onion water. I was not a fan.
Oh, yeah.
You smell like, I don't know, like McDonald's cheeseburgers or something.
But way worse.
But worse,
like
so much worse.
Old and hot.
Like he hasn't ever worn deodorant ever in his life.
Right. I've always I'm still carrying around the stench from 10 years ago. But I'm not, and that's just, that's the onion stuff. But, no, I went there on a field trip, and one of the actors, or whatever you want to call him, he was out there. I don't even remember what he was doing. I think he was applying onion water somehow. I don't want to say spraying, because I don't know how in the hell they would have a way to spray anything back then.
Yeah.
So he might have been just dumping it on the plant. But yeah, he told me in his old colonial talk that they soak onions in water and then just make a tea out of it, and it just takes a day. You just soak it in the sun, and yeah, you remember how bad it smelled? It was awful.
Oh, it was awful. I'd rather take the garlic oil.
Yeah, well, like I like to tell people, it'll keep bugs, deer, neighbors,
People.
yeah, all of it out of your garden.
Uh-huh.
But so we use garlic barrier, which is a garlic oil we buy online, and I mean it smells like garlic, but it doesn't smell like as bad as the onions.
Right.
I would venture to say that maybe the onion stuff worked better. I don't
Probably.
know.
I mean, if it was deterring humans, it's probably deterring other bugs.
Yeah, it was just so bad. It was like hot, warm garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Stingy, tangy onion.
Yep.
Many layers. Hey.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we're always trying to do, something a little bit more natural to deal with our problems. There's no herbicide other than your 2 hands. Okay? Let's get that straight. We don't have to call it weeding. I think that's an ugly word. I think we need to start calling it cultivating. We're cultivating. Okay?
I know.
We're always cultivating our crops. Getting rid of the leeches that are trying to steal the nutrients.
Mm-hmm.
And, on a massive 50-acre field of corn, you probably can't do it by hand.
No.
No. But that's why we do what we do. And we work with the farmers that we work with because we have similar ideologies around chemicals and clean eating and real food and providing a quality product to the consumers. Small plug. Anyway, moving on. So, speaking of 50-acre fields, I don't know if you guys know this, but all over New England,
We've been driving around the countryside.
Yeah, we do home delivery every Thursday and Friday, bringing food to a home near you. So we see a lot of fields, and a lot of cornfields, and they go from looking beautiful blue-green in the springtime. With that's a cover crop they plant called winter rye, and typically you would plant the cover crop and then you would harrow or flip the soil, till all of that green plant matter in as fertilizer for your next crop. Your corn's going to devour the decaying vegetation. So instead of that, probably because it's harder to drill the seed with all that stuff in the ground, they spray them with chemicals. Largely, I'm going to assume it's glyphosate, which is the number 1 plant killer in the world. And then they just plant the corn in between the rows of winter rye. The dead brown chemical-laced winter rye. And then the corn just grows through. Now, these farms, this practice, from what I understand from talking to those types of farmers, it's called no-till, right?
Okay.
Now, I don't know about you, Cass, but no-till had the similar marketing like organic or non-GMO, let's say.
Or no-till. When I think no-till personally, I think you're amending the soil because you're not stirring up all the nutrients. You're allowing them to build up.
You're not letting the sun decay with its UV rays all the minerals and stuff from flipping it.
Yeah.
But instead, you're dousing it with chemicals.
Right. Yeah.
And this is somehow better for the environment. Get a grip. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. It's probably as bad, if not worse, for the environment.
Yeah.
Right?
Probably.
I mean, I don't want to eat glyphosate.
No.
Even though we all do on a daily basis. It's almost impossible to get away from. I mean, we eat pretty clean, I would say. We eat a lot of our own food.
Yeah.
There's stuff that's going to slip through. I mean, hey, we don't grow chocolate, and chocolate's delicious. But
we don't. Well, we make pizza sometimes, but
we do make pizza using Cass's tomato sauce from the farm. We have done that
sometimes.
many a time. We just used your last jar like a couple weeks ago
For pasta.
Okay, that one was for pasta, but you know what I'm saying. We like to use it for the pizza.
Well,
it's good.
This year we'll use a lot more because I have probably like 200
Thousands.
San Marzano. Probably like 1,000 San Marzano tomatoes that came up because I saved all those seeds and I didn't know if any of them were going to come up. So I figured, overseed it in this little tray and, one's got to come up.
Yeah,
one's got to come up. They all came up. So pretty cool. Also, we don't have any room. So we'll be planting. I was like, we're going to plant them literally everywhere and we'll see what comes up.
I want to start. I talked about it on the last podcast. I want to start putting the sucker herbs that grow out into the meat bird pasture, and just kind of let them grow with the pasture. The oregano, the lemon balm, and then whenever we just move the chickens to it, they'll eat it that day and they'll move on. You know, they'll get those.
Oh, because it's good for them.
Yeah, it's great for them.
Yeah.
They'll pick at it.
I was like, I don't know if I want oregano that the chickens have been laying on, but okay, it's for them. It's not for us.
Yeah, it's like field culture. It's going to be grown with the timothy and the clover and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I recently saw a thing about a farmer that does this.
Really?
Like they'll plant one of their paddocks with rye, and then they'll plant another one of their pig paddocks with corn, and then they'll do another one with something else. And then, like we saw on Clarkson Farm, they had the potatoes, right?
Yeah.
The failed potato crops, so they put the pigs there, and the pigs ate all the potatoes, right?
Yep.
So similar kind of thing here. And actually, a lot of guys do that hunt deer. They'll have like I don't know, they call them a certain thing. I can't remember what it's called, but basically they'll plant sunflowers or broccoli sprouts.
Something to try to bring the deer in?
Yeah, to feed the deer. I don't know if you're allowed to shoot them when you do that there. I don't know how that works. But I know guys do that. I've seen it. And so that's similar concept. And I've been kind of thinking about that because we have some old corn from our popcorn that we could just toss out in the pig pen, and that would grow like crazy.
Okay.
And the new space that we're going to fence in for the pigs, I'll lace that with corn too. Just like see what happens. Kind of like.
Can we do that now?
Yeah, we should do that right now. Yeah, not right now. Maybe tomorrow now.
Yeah.
Tomorrow now sounds good.
Yep.
Kind of like what Justin Rhodes was doing with his compost, right? He would put corn down and then deep bed it, and then put the pig in there, and then the pig would just like till it all up. You know, trying to get that corn, that sweet, sweet golden nugget of starch.
Nice.
They're addicted. But anyway, yeah, we got a little bit on a tangent there. But so look around you guys. If you live anywhere near a large cornfield, or cornfield in general, see if it went from being beautiful green to sad looking brown dead grass. If it did, well, that farmer there is killing the cover crop in order to use it as nutrient. I think that's a contradiction. I'm not sure. But it doesn't make sense to me. And you should know. You should know that you're living near this activity because you don't actually have to be notified.
Yeah, because if they are spraying a chemical that is harmful, they're probably wearing a suit.
They might be wearing a suit.
And, if it's windy, you're going to get some drift.
Yeah, drift, herbicide. That's herbicide poisoning, real thing.
Yep.
We thought that maybe.
So there's somebody in my life, I won't name names because I didn't tell them I was going to talk about this, but they recently currently, and it's going on a week now, have an eye infection that is kind of an anomaly. We don't know how it started kind of thing. They don't know how it started. But if you look up the symptoms and what's going on, basically their cornea was like, I don't know if it was swollen, whatever. There was some bleeding going on in the eye. Couldn't see. Completely blurred vision in one eye.
Scary.
So, very scary. Go to the doctors. They say it's pink eye. Here's some cream. Well, a day or two later.
Not pink eye.
Not pink eye. Swelling's not going down. Can't see, even worse. And one of the most common things, so now they're at an eye specialist. Every single day they have to go to this eye specialist to check to make sure the bleeding is stopping, or else they might have to get eye surgery.
But it's also like how rare the condition is.
Kind of just like really crazy.
You're using it as like a case study almost.
And typically this is something that you would be able to pinpoint how it happened. You would either, maybe you got something stuck in your eye, you hit your head, whatever, chemical burn, something like that. So the most common it happens a lot to farmers because of synthetic fertilizers and sprays. So they do live right across the street from a field.
That was beautiful green.
This is true.
And you and I were driving by one day, going there, right, to pick them up to take them to the doctor or something.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, look at the field, it's brown.
Yeah. And it could be that, or it could be this person's been big into their lawn lately, and they're not as eco-friendly as maybe they should be using some name brand stuff you can buy at the store, which is supposed to be homeowner safe.
Yeah, but you could buy Roundup.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's literally been found to cause lymphoma.
Right. So do you want a green lawn or do you want to go blind? I don't know.
Yeah. Pick your battles.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's both. You want a green lawn and go blind because that's what's happening. But
what an awful contradiction. Can't even see it.
I know.
Oh, it's like poetic. Stop with the sadness.
But the point is that these things can be harmful, if you're outside and you see a farmer spraying and you don't know what it is.
Oh, you'll never see.
No,
you'll never see.
They
spray at the cover of nighttime.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. I've heard more stories about just random people coming to the stand seeing this activity go on at night. Mm-hmm. We're talking like midnight, 1 in the morning. Farmers are out there spraying chemicals because they know. I mean, the optics isn't good.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's the other thing, right? Not only do you not know that that's why the field is brown, you probably don't even think about it because in 2-3 weeks,
it's going to be beautiful corn.
The corn is going to be just as high as the dead wheat or winter rye, and you won't even think about it, you won't even see it. So it's like and actually I just saw some corn already popping up, super early. But yeah, so they spray the cover at night because they know that if anybody were to see them, someone would probably say something.
Right.
That is shady. It's sad that they have to do that in order to make $1. Maybe they don't. The argument definitely could be made that they don't have to operate like this, but I don't know. We're not seeing a whole lot of people going back. And then a farmer explained to me, why you do no-till. It's pushed as, and here's the real problem. It's pushed as good for the environment for 2 reasons. 1, the sun crap, not messing with the soil.
Yeah.
But 2, you're not driving an extra 1 to 3 laps on the field. Okay? So you spray, you plant, you're done.
Okay. I do think, though, side note, small farmers that are doing no-till methods that aren't, doing it for this mass production of corn, I do think it probably does help amend the soil. It's probably decent. It's probably good.
We're technically no-till. There's some spots I'll till.
Yeah.
But
sometimes I think you need to till. Our soil...
It's quite
rocky, and we do have a lot of clay sediment, so it gets compacted pretty quickly.
Yeah.
We need to stir that up.
Yeah.
It needs to be loosened.
But I will say that the other thing with stirring up the soil on our scale is like you're stirring up the ancient seed bank. So you're bringing up all those seeds that are just in the soil and haven't had a chance to get exposed to enough water and sunlight to become a thing. So
weeds,
Gallensoga, right? It's a common one we got. Purslane,
Artemisia. Is that Gallen? Oh no, that's different. Artemisia. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, dude.
Anybody that wants that, come on over.
No. Actually, don't grow it. Don't buy it. Don't put it anywhere. It's awful.
I don't think people do. They buy it and grow it.
So the thing with Artemisia. So there are several plants that go by Artemisia.
Okay.
Okay. This one is a native weed that, like, they say you put under your pillow when you have crazy dreams. Literally.
Okay.
That's what it's known
or
for.
If you smoke it or something.
Yeah, it's like.
What's the common name?
I have no idea.
No, it's mullein?
No, it's mugwort.
Mugwort. Yep.
Which,
when you told me that, I was like, oh my god, I've heard such great things about mugwort. Nope, not if it's this.
Well, not if you're trying to cultivate crops you're trying to eat where it's growing.
Right.
And this is a weed here. It definitely came in.
The problem with it, it's got such a root system, so...
Yeah, it spreads a lot like how grass spreads.
Right.
Underground with different shoots that come up like a raspberry. That's actually how raspberries spread. They spread underground and pop up. I don't want to say rhizomatic because I don't think that's the right word.
Okay.
But I forget what the term is. But basically, yeah, it's just like grass. So that's how it spreads. So it doesn't even need to go through a friggin' like a flowering cycle. You know what I mean? In order to pollinate itself, to promote itself. So, anyway, look around, guys. You know, there's activities of all this stuff everywhere. You might not even know what it is or why, but I think people should know. You know, if you're living near a field like that, you should know that it was just sprayed with chemicals. And they say that there's a return on entry, like how long it sits in the air and when it's safe. Come on. Is it safe? Is it ever safe?
I don't know.
You know?
I mean, if there is a short return or whatever, and it does, then at least it's good they're doing it at nighttime.
Well,
Most
that's
people
another
are
reason,
sleeping.
right?
Yeah, they're
Doing
not
it
out
at
mowing
night.
their lawn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a double whammy. It's the best time to do it for many reasons, from the farmer standpoint.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Simply Growing Food Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. If you guys have any questions, please visit our website at www.simplygrowingfood.com. Visit our podcast page and send us a message. We want to hear from you. Cash, you got anything to say to the folks?
I do not. Thank you for listening.
All right, that's going to do it. Bye-bye.